Hi, I'm Dani Thomas, Co-Executive Director at the Art and History Museums of Maitland, and today we're here to give you an update on the restoration of our main garden gate. The gate was damaged in a vehicle incident last June, and this week we have Rosa Lowinger and Associates here to start the initial phases of the restoration. So we're going to talk to them a little bit about the process, what we can expect over the next few weeks as it unfolds, and we're going to talk a little bit about preservation in general.
I'm Kelly Ciociola, and I'm the Principal Conservator at RLA Conservation. And we're here for phase 1 of the restoration of the gate and wall. And what we're doing here this week is really figuring out the puzzle of the damage and figuring out where all the pieces go back together and how best to put them back together, documenting the damage that's occurred and figuring out what will need to happen in order to bring the gate back to its original appearance. The overall condition is that it seems to be that most of the pieces are here, and we have several large pieces, which is always good, more complicated but good, because it means that you have a better idea of where things go and how it all fits back together. Not too much of the decorative ornament appears to be damaged, which is great. There's minor losses and some cracking through the decorative pieces, but the majority of the decorative pieces appear to be in good condition. So the next steps right now, we've laid everything out. We've figured out what we have. We're creating a map so that we can put everything back together in the original location. And we'll use the map to label each one of the pieces and document them with photos so that when we come back to put it together, we'll have a really good idea of where everything goes. And then once our work on site here is done, the engineer will give us his recommendations and we'll put together our report of how we move forward. And then we'll be back in a couple months to start putting it back together.
Preservation is such an interesting field and the work is so important. We also want to take a moment to learn a little bit more about the team that's going to be actually doing the restoration.
Hi, my name is Caroline Dickenshutz and I'm an Assistant Conservator at RLA Conservation. So preservation is important for many reasons. I think working with a preservationist, they're going to be people that have trained in multiple disciplines, and so you have a really holistic idea of how a project's going to go.
So preservationists are important for this type of work because while it may seem like it's something that a general contractor could do and maybe could do under guidance by preservationists, there's a lot of delicate parts that need to be there's a delicacy that needs to happen with the reconstruction so that it is true to the original aesthetic and the original design, and that we make sure that everything is put back where it needs to be and that we're retaining as much original material as possible. And that's really important with a landmark building.
Started in historic preservation. I studied architecture in undergrad. This was with art history, and that kind of just developed into a love for older buildings. I was in Boston at the time. So when I was looking ahead to what I wanted to do after undergrad, a historic preservation program really was attractive to me. I like the idea of working with my hands, but also working on buildings, places that people see and walk past every day, like the wall here at Maitland, but maybe they don't always recognize it or know too much about it until something like this happens. So I
got into preservation because I love art and history and I love puzzles, and this is a really good example of how that comes together in one place, where you have a puzzle of trying to figure out how this was constructed originally and how it should be reconstructed, but then also taking into account the decorative features and recreating the decorative features. Eventually we'll be repairing those and doing some recreation. So it's a really good marriage of all of my interests.
Yes, my name is Junior Norelus, and I'm a Chief Technician at RLA Conservation. And I got into conservation after earthquake happened in Haiti, and I was there at the moment, and again, by trying to rebuild what we have, restoring what we have, and we have other people can help, and like Smithsonian and help us rebuild it, and I get involved, and since then, and I'm in, and I like it, and that's how I
My name's John Klinkos, and I work for Rosa Lowinger, and I worked with her for about 5 or 6 years. And the reason I got into preservation is largely I started when I went to art school. I'm a painter by trade, and went to art school and started cleaning sculpture on the Penn campus in University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. I like preservation largely because it's art related, but it's different enough from my painting practice not to interfere with it. It sort of adds to it kind of nicely, actually. You know, I just recommend everybody appreciate art and architecture, and not touch it too much, and don't crash your skateboards into it.
As you can see, the damage was quite extensive. Rosa Lowinger and Associates has a big project ahead of them, but we're so grateful that the prognosis so far is good, and we're very grateful to the City of Maitland for all of the support through this project. We'll continue to update you as the work unfolds.